But yeah, Roach, he didn't really expose Tank. What he exposed was Tank may not be an A class fighter. Tank might be a B level fighter. But since Tank is so athletic, he looks like an A level fighter. People confuse athleticism with boxing skill and craft. Lamont Roach might fuck around and be an A level fighter by the time it's all said and done because Lamont Roach isn't a fast fighter, but he has great timing. He's developed great timing and instincts throughout the years. So maybe he could beat a Shakur. Maybe he could beat some of the big names. And we know he's going to be willing to fight him as well. That's the great part about it. We know that Lamont is actually going to be willing to fight these dudes. What you think about I think Errol really is done because they were trying to have Errol come back and fight Sebastian Fundora, but Fundora is about to fight this weekend. Nobody really cares, and Errol is nowhere in the mix. I think Errol really is retired, and if he is, I'm happy for him. But that's such a bad legacy. Like, damn, Terrence Crawford retired that man. That shit is sad to think about. Nobody expected that, but Terrence Crawford really retired that man, bro. Shit, don't even be started on Errol, bro. Jesus. Yo, I see a video of Errol where he was like sucking his stomach in, talking about he always in shape or some shit, and it was all flabby. I don't think Errol Spence understands like you cannot be a world class athlete and gorge yourself with that Jamaican food and the Jamaican cuisine. You can't do that. You cannot be a world class athlete and be like, all right, today I'm gonna start the day off with a big Texas breakfast, and then I'm gonna have a nice lunch at Texas Longhorn. Then I'm gonna finish it off with homemade jerk chicken and sweet potato pie and uh, neck bones, collard green, motherfucking mac, baked mac and cheese. Oh yeah, and on top of that, I'm gonna be drinking alcohol the whole time. You cannot do, you cannot be a world class athlete. It don't matter how much you work out. You would have to work out like how Floyd was training for you to still be shredded and for you to still be in tip top condition. And even then, that's not recommended. Like, god damn. So I can barely even remember how Errol fought anymore. I always will remember how Errol fought. I think Errol is a beast, not just in the ring, but of a man. Like boxing was on fire when Errol Spence was fighting because he would jump in there with anybody. So Errol was eating like Bomac, damn Skippy. But Errol would jump in there with anybody. That's why I would never look down on him. Like, okay, he got his ass whooped, cool, but at least he got his ass whooped. You know what I mean? Shakur could have whooped Tank's ass. Tank could have whooped Shakur ass. We would never know because Tank won't make that fight happen. Errol made the fight happen. Errol was the money man. He made the fight happen. Tank is not going to do that. Why? Is it because he think he going to lose? I don't know. I don't know. It's crazy though, man. It's really crazy. Stars like Errol will always make the sport entertaining. It's not even just the fact he is star. I would say men like Errol because that's what stood out to me about Errol Spence. That man is a man, bro. He's somebody where he wasn't afraid. As soon as the fight was over, he didn't run. Errol didn't even run to the locker room. He all lumped up, his face lumped up, swelled up, lips swelled up. That motherfucker was beating unrecognizable. He didn't look like the Errol Spence that walked into the ring with the curls and the girls. He didn't look like that man. But he didn't run to the locker room. He didn't run from the press conference. He talked. He had a press conference right there, told the man, we got to do this shit again. Answered questions at the press conference, bumped and lumped up like a man. He didn't run from nothing. Now he made a bunch of excuses, but part of that is being a great athlete. When you great at something, you don't believe you can be beat. So when you get beat, you be shocked, like, damn, ain't no way. It must have been this, it must have been that. No, maybe your ass just got beat. But as a man, I would never forget the traits that Errol Spence displayed. I would never forget that because most people and most men in this generation ain't bitches, man. They just straight up bitches, up and down, and it's not their fault. You know, they putting estrogen in the food.